Greetings, YouTubers. As you know, I am GMC, and welcome to my new segment on the channel called, well, an acronym, I guess. I like to call it GMC's RABS, which is Random Acts of Bull. Yeah. I'm going to try not to swear so much in these, because I like to be fan-friendly once in a while. But these videos are, as the title says, random. Completely random topics, completely random things. I'm going to try not to complain so much, and let everybody know a little bit about me. Because there might be a few of you out there that don't know who I am. You just know me from the brew reviews, or my WTF stuff, or reality sucks, and all I do is complain. No. This is going to be a show about stuff I like. Sometimes. But, I guess this one's going to be a little weird because I had just seen the full-length official trailer for The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And, this really looks good. This looks like a good movie. I have seen the first, I can't talk, The Amazing Spider-Man. I've seen that one, and I was really impressed with it. Comic book movies in general are really some of the better movies out there, and I know that's weird to say. They make a lot of money. In fact, I had read that Marvel has their entire lineup of movies set up till 2028. Think about that. So, 2014 now, they have the next 14 years plotted out for movies. And really, the movies that they have planned, I could probably do without. You know, they have Ant-Man in the works. Really? I've never read the Ant-Man comics, but what is so impressive about Ant-Man? Now, somebody who's watching this, if you're a comic fan, let me know. Because I don't see anything spectacular about Ant-Man. Other than the fact that he can shrink down and crawl under people's beds and get stuff for them. Ant-Man? Really? But, as I said, I like comics. I am a comic head. I don't read them as much as I probably should, or as much as people think I do. Now, when you hear me talk, it sounds like I know all of these comics cover to cover. And the truth is, I haven't read that many. I do keep up with the storylines of them. And one of my biggest problems, I think, with comics, especially nowadays, is, this has been brought up before by other people, in comics, nothing sticks. Continuity, death, continuous, like anything to do with big change, nothing ever stays the same. Nothing ever sticks with what they do. You know, people in comics die repeatedly over and over again, and they're just miraculously brought back. You know, comics are kind of like wrestling. They exist in a completely different world. And people have said, like, you know, comics, superheroes are the modern day myths, similar to Greek and Roman mythology, which I could see, because people talk about superheroes all the time. They talk about how they're real people, and that's how they did it in the old times with the Roman and Greek mythology. And excuse me. So that's my biggest problem with comics, is that nothing sticks. And one of the great examples I can bring up is Spider-Man. Because when I saw the trailer, I started thinking about Spider-Man and how there was I don't know if it's more recent or it was a while ago, but they had done a storyline where Spider-Man is unmasked. His identity is revealed to the world. This was around the time where Spider-Man had graduated from college, he was married, he had moved out of Aunt May's house, he had a job, he was still being Spider-Man, but I guess apparently the writers thought, man, this guy is so tough to write for anymore. Because nobody can relate to this guy. Nobody can relate to Peter Parker anymore because he's popular. He has friends. He's married to a supermodel. Nobody can relate to this guy. He's just so tough to write for. And when they unmasked him, this is a big deal. This was the unmasking of Spider-Man. And for years, Spider-Man has always been about, I cannot let anybody know who I am. I cannot let people know I'm Spider-Man because my enemies would come at me through them. It's been his mantra for years, including with great power comes great responsibility. But, of course, the writers are thinking, man, what else can we possibly do this, God? This is just so hard. I know what we can do. We'll hit the reset button. So they retcon Spider-Man. I believe the story is called One More Day, where they hit the reset button, or even better, the rewind button. They take Spider-Man completely back in time to where he's still living with Aunt May. I don't know if he was still in college or not, but he's still a geek. Nobody likes him. He's not married. He's just this completely tortured soul. And to me, again, I'm regular Joe Schmo. I don't think I qualify for being any kind of critic, but as somebody who enjoys comic stories, this was almost like the writers standing up, like throwing their hands in the air and saying, we can't do this anymore. We give up. We cannot write for this character anymore, so we're going to redo everything. I'm looking at DC in particular with the New 52, but I like some of the New 52 stuff. I like the fact that they're starting over and doing different things. I have a whole segment about Batman I want to talk about, but one of the examples of the New 52 in DC is Batman is married to Talia al Ghul, who is the daughter of Ra's al Ghul, who is leader of the League of Shadows, who wants Bruce Wayne to be his heir apparent. Like, they have a child together, Damian Wayne, who becomes Robin and eventually dies. I thought that was kind of cool. But going back to Spider-Man, again, I don't know if they did this or not. Because again, I follow some stories in comics. I don't follow it religiously. But here's the question. Why retcon Spider-Man when you could just make a new Spider-Man? And right away, the comic geeks out there who have found this video just by random are just like shaking their heads in their condescending manner. Like, what are you talking about? You can't make another Spider-Man. There's only one Spider-Man. It's Peter Parker. You can't make another Spider-Man. How dare you, sir? Yes, you can make another Spider-Man. Because, again, going strictly by comics, I literally sat down one day and thought this up. But it was probably already thought up before. However, let's say there is a kid in the Empire State University where Peter Parker goes to, and he's a huge Spider-Man fan. his life is basically modeled after Peter Parker. Maybe not so much as like the exact thing. I thought of this character as being popular in that he's like a Flash Thompson almost. He has tons of friends. He's athletic. He's popular. He's a genuinely good guy. So he sees somebody getting beat up, he'll go over and stop them. He generally wants to do good because Spider-Man is kind of his hero. Secretly, he's a big Spider-Man mark. And he's like, man, that would be awesome to actually be Spider-Man and whatever. And you could even go to the point where Spider-Man ends up saving him from some situation. And the kid is like, wow, I want to do that. I want to be Spider-Man. And you make him, in the comics, again, going comic world, like real world comic world. In the real world, I would picture this kid as like a scientist or some kind of really smart, intelligent kid. And in the real world, scientists are limited by what they have in front of them, in terms of tools and technology or whatever. In the comics, anything goes. Anything goes. You could have, well, here's an example. You could have a guy in a cave somewhere create an arc reactor out of bits and pieces of fuselage from planes and tanks. I'm looking at Tony Stark, of course, from the Iron Man movies. I don't know if that's how he did it in the comics, but I'm just going by movies, by what I know. Fago, awesome. But, I would picture this kid who's a big Spider-Man fan. He'd be sitting down at his little table, his little lab table or whatever. He's like, all right. Like, he would write down everything that Spider-Man can do. He would follow him around with the camera, and he would get pictures and video of what Spider-Man can do. And the comic book geek out there, so the same thing. Like, there's no way you could create Spider-Man again, because he's very unique. Alright. What does Spider-Man do? Like, power-wise, ability-wise. What is Spider-Man? Well, Spider-Man was bitten by a radioactive spider and given super strength, super agility, the ability to shoot webs, stick to walls, and the spider sense. That's right off the top of my head. Now, this kid, we'll call him Tom, just because I want to give him a name. We'll call him Tom. Tom sits at his desk, and he has that list of everything I read. Like, okay, I need to create something that gives me strength and agility. So he creates these braces on his arms and his legs. Like in Dark Knight Rises, when Bruce Wayne is so beaten down and just battered to the point where he can barely walk anymore, they create these like leg braces for him to be able to move the same way that he always was as Batman. The guy could create something like that to give him additional strength in his arms and agility in his legs. Like, he could use these braces to jump in the air and these things to lift stuff up to help him. Right there solves your speed and agility and strength. The web shooters. You go by the comics, well, most of the comics anyway. Peter Parker creates the web shooters on his own. The Amazing Spider-Man movie, he finds the technology, but he still creates it in his own way. So right away, he could create his own thing. If one person can do it, somebody else could do it. It's really not that tough. And they're like, well, the spider put something in his mind, the genetic code to create webbing. Again, this is scientists in comics. They can do anything. This guy could find pieces of webbing. I know it dissolves after a while, but he could collect a piece of webbing and study it and figure out the compounds, because he's a smart guy. What else? Speed, agility, strength, the webs. Damn it, I'm kind of making myself a fool because I forgot everything. Well, the spider sense. Pardon me. The spider sense. What exactly is spider sense? Just off the top of your head, what is it? To me, it's almost like an advanced form of radar. And you're telling me that you couldn't just create something that is kind of like a radar? Like, it gives off a radius around you, this little device that creates almost like an invisible circle, and if something breaks that circle, you know where it's coming from, and you know that it's coming towards you. So that's what makes Spider-Man unique, is he can detect stuff, he can sense danger coming, and he can get out of the way quick. You could create something like a radar. If something breaks that circle, you're like, oh, gunshot, ugh, like that. The adhesion to walls, sticking to walls. He could create a chemical that would be able to, or even like a suit, to cling to walls. So right there, this guy, Tom, I call him, he creates this spider suit and becomes a new Spider-Man. And it kind of writes itself, because, again, he's not the real Spider-Man. He's something different. But you can play off of that. You know, he may not be as strong as the original Spider-Man. His spider sense might not be as acute as real spider sense. But that's where you have fun with the character. He could meet Spider-Man in an alley one night, dressed up in his new gear, and say, like, hey, look at me. I'm the new Spider. I can do this. And Spider-Man, like Peter Parker, could look at him like, dude, no, you don't want to do this. Like, this is the biggest curse of my life. I would do anything else other than this. And this Tom guy would be like, no, I really want to help you. I want to be the hero that, you know, you taught me to be. And for months and months and months and months and months, this guy would just show up and help Spider-Man out. Until finally one day, you know what, Peter kind of looks at it from, you know, a point of view of, okay, like Mary Jane even is saying this, like, Peter, this guy wants to take over, let him take over. Or let him help you. You know, if you want to be Spider-Man, I can't stop you, but this guy genuinely wants to help you. And so Peter would look at it from this way, like, okay, I have a wife now, you know, I have other responsibilities. If this guy wants to do it, then so be it. And he would go to Tom and say, Tom, you know what? I officially give you the mantle of Spider-Man. You know, go out and be Spider-Man. And there you have a new Spider-Man. New character, new situation, new conflicts. You know, there could be other advantages to this. If he fights Venom, like, or any of the supervillains, because all of Spider-Man's villains are probably so used to fighting Peter Parker that then Tom comes in and they're thrown off their game, because this is a different Spider-Man. He fights different. He has different strategies that Parker would do and this one wouldn't. And the whole Venom Carnage deal, where Venom, one of his biggest strengths is the fact that Spider-Man can't sense him. Because when Parker was attached to the symbiote, it did something to Parker where he couldn't sense him. So that's how Venom is able to sneak up on Peter Parker. But this Tom guy, he doesn't have that problem. He could literally sense Venom coming towards him, and that would just throw Venom off his game. Like, all of a sudden he's like looking at something, Venom tries to sneak up on him, all of a sudden his radar goes off, like, uh-oh, bam! Like, back elbow to Venom. Venom's like, what happened? What? Yeah, like, you're not Parker. Like, yeah, you're right, and you know, writes itself. That's really my big rant on. I have more. I have plenty more. Really, anything to do with like secret identities. Secret identities, like Batman. Batman has there. I'm stumbling on my words, and I apologize. I'm trying to figure out just really how to start with Batman, because Batman's my favorite of all. He's my absolute favorite comic book character. But I'll save that for another time. So again, if you like this stuff, I applaud you. This is just me talking. You know, it's not meant to be anything but just me talking. I know that probably sounds boring, but this is something I like, and I like talking about it. So if you watch this and you enjoy it and you talk about it, then, you know, give me your opinions. If you like my idea, if you don't like my idea, if somebody else already did my idea, it's okay. I'll gladly talk about it. Like, I want to know about it. So I guess my next video I'll talk a little bit about I guess Batman, because I have a good bit to say about Batman. Again, I would rewrite a story about Batman, and again, this is another thing that's probably already been done before, but I have other ideas of, like, I could write fan fiction for this kind of stuff, like the whole thing with the new Spider-Man. I could write a whole big thing of fan fiction about this. Same thing with Batman. So I'll see you next time, where I discuss the Dark Knight and what I would do to really screw him over. I'll see you later.